Harry, who's that standing next to the Queen? Is that a servant? That's what Harry wrote in his book Spare. How stupid is this man that he actually believes it? Or is it that he wanted to believe it? And I wonder if Prince Andrew is going to come out and say, hey, Harry, I did your wife quite a few times on yachts before you got.
Prince Andrew was arrested just 2 days ago, and the shockwaves are still rippling through every corner of the news.
The reports are that Prince Andrew, the former Prince Andrew, has been arrested.
His phones seized, his computers being combed through like never before, and his documents, right now, they're tucked away in some evidence room in England, gathering dust but holding secrets that could shake more than just a palace. Meanwhile, somewhere sunny and quiet in Montecito, California, a woman who spent the last 8 years making sure her pre-row past stayed buried just got a wake-up call. The man who could confirm every rumor, every whisper about her. He's now facing detectives with nothing left to lose, and that changes everything.
Meghan Markle, as previously having been a quote yacht girl, there have been more revelations going viral from the past. And I want to show you this.
She was a yacht girl. That's right. It's mentioned in the book. Meghan used to entertain as a yacht girl.
Here's the kicker. This isn't just about Andrew anymore. It's about what Andrew knows, and specifically, what he might know about Meghan Markle. But this story, it doesn't begin at Windsor Castle, at the wedding, or even when the world first met a Duchess of Sussex. It starts long before Meghan even thought about a tiara or a royal title. Sure, you've heard Andrew got arrested. Every channel screamed it. But the real story, the one that packs teeth, isn't about handcuffs. When police execute a search warrant, they don't just peek around. They raid. They grab hard drives, laptops, phones, USB sticks, filing cabinets, anything that holds information, and they haul it away. And Andrew wasn't just at one place. 2 properties were hit, one in Windsor, one in Norfolk. That means a mountain of evidence, sitting somewhere, waiting to be cracked open by investigators.
The yacht girl. Oh my God. Ghislaine Maxwell spoke. She said so. Virginia Roberts spoke. They both talked about Meghan Markle, but the world chose to ignore it. And even now, with these pictures out in the public domain, the press still refuses to expose Meghan.
Think about it. Decades of Andrew's private communications, names, numbers, photos, travel logs, guest lists, the people he partied with, the events he attended, the exclusive circles he ran in, all of it, potentially sitting on a detective's desk right now, ready to reveal the hidden webs of a life most of us only glimpse in tabloids. Yes, the arrest itself is serious. Misconduct in public office, confidential documents, legal matters that will play out in court. But the seized materials, that's a different beast. There are no boundaries. Investigators tug at one thread, and everything tangled up with it comes spilling out. Every conversation Andrew ever had about his social life, associates, guests, exposed. And if your name is somewhere in those files, linked to moments you thought were gone forever, this isn't a moment for a lawyer, it's a moment for a miracle. Before Meghan Markle ever walked down that aisle at Windsor Castle, she was in a world far from royal balls and palace gardens.
And here we have Andrew, with whom looks like Marcus Anderson. This is in 2001, when Meghan Markle would have allegedly been on 3rd year. Meghan Markle hardly spent any time at Northwestern University.
Hollywood wasn't kind to newcomers, and Meghan knew it better than most. Between small TV roles and carefully chosen red carpet charity appearances, she was building a network. Not the kind you make at auditions. Real connections were forged at private dinners, members-only clubs, and places where the elite mix behind closed doors. And according to years of whispers, the gossip stretching from yachts, not fishing boats, but mega yachts costing more per weekend than most earn in a lifetime. She was rubbing shoulders with billionaires, financiers, and the invisible elite whose names never make a guest list. Reports have been swirling for years, and let me be crystal clear, none of this has ever been proven. But whispers persist that Meghan attended ultra-elite yacht gatherings during her pre-royal years. These weren't your average parties. Introductions weren't made with business cards. They were made with favors.
You know, this is what Meghan has been doing. She's a piece of Klingon, you know, like she clings to somebody who can get her there. So Meghan manages to befriend one person of a very popular group, and then that person introduces her to the others. And that because that she's being brought in by somebody they trust, she's welcomed in.
A handshake here, a nod there, where reputations were crafted not on talent, but on access. And in those waters, the line between networking, socializing, and something far more secretive, it wasn't just blurred, it was practically invisible. And independent investigators have been digging into this story for nearly a decade. Their work is methodical, relentless, and full of moments that sound straight out of a thriller. One insider described the situation with a line that sticks. Scorpions don't sleep. They plot, sometimes for years. That's exactly what some believe has been happening here. The idea is that the full picture of Meghan's pre-royal connections was carefully assembled, bit by bit, waiting for a moment when everything could finally snap into focus. And if you're asking what that right moment looks like, look no further than a royal prince sitting in custody, his entire digital life now in police hands. That moment changes the game. Files, messages, guest lists, everything Andrew ever touched is now fair game. And suddenly, old rumors get teeth. One name keeps popping up over and over: Ron Burkell, a billionaire investor who was snapped in photos with Meghan at the opening of a Soho house in Istanbul back in 2015.
A man called Kevin Blatt. Now, he is a celebrity tape broker, ladies, where he describes a 2018 call from a woman claiming to possess a 4-year-old tape of a Meghan who is about to marry a prince.
Her name is Meghan, and she's about to marry a prince in England.
What?
Yeah, this story's not true, too.
It is true. I believe this is Meghan.
Investigators point to that event as a crossroads, a moment where Hollywood networking collided with a far darker, shadowy social orbit. And Burkell? His name isn't just a one-off. It's connected to other investigations, some of which creep uncomfortably close to the very circles that eventually brought Andrew down. Observers noticed something odd about Burkell. He seemed to wear the same outfit for every event, year after year. Paranoid planning or strategic cover? Hard to say, but it made it nearly impossible to track when or where certain photos were taken, and that, according to some insiders, was no accident. And then there's the million-dollar question everyone whispers, but rarely asks. How does a working actress on a cable TV show in Toronto suddenly find herself rubbing elbows at gatherings where entry starts at 7 figures?
And guess who's on the other end with her Panama hat?
Those kinds of connections aren't random. They're curated, orchestrated, facilitated. One investigator who spent years mapping this world insists Meghan wasn't just showing up. She was being introduced to specific people by specific people. Every meeting, every handshake, every nod had purpose. Were these introductions connected to a network Andrew was involved in? That part remains unproven, but the overlap of names, dates, and places is too precise to be ignored. It's almost like someone designed it all, and Andrew might be sitting on the key pieces. And here's the twist nobody asks enough. If investigators have been quietly assembling this puzzle for 8 years, and credible journalists are now cautiously discussing it on camera, why hasn't a single mainstream outlet dared to touch it? That silence is loud, and it's loaded with questions.
She'd been a deal or no deal girl. She was calling herself a model, and she was starring in a show Suits. She used to charge almost $30,000 per trip, which is why she was making good money. It wasn't on Suits, it was on her yachting trips.
There is one person who tried to make this story impossible to ignore. Her name was Virginia Giuffre. She was the woman at the center of the case that forced Andrew into a staggering £12 million settlement. She was taken advantage of as a teenager, exploited by powerful men, and spent years waiting through the courts just to be heard. Her courage shook the royal world and sent shockwaves across powerful circles that thought no one could challenge them. In 2025, at the age of 41, Virginia passed away. After Andrew's arrest, her family and siblings released a statement that said their broken hearts had finally lifted. They said he was never a prince. They said Virginia fought for survivors everywhere. And they thanked the police for proving a truth too many people still refuse to accept. No one is above the law, not even royalty. But here's a detail that mainstream media buried back in December 2021. Virginia Giuffre's attorney, David Boies, told the Daily Beast that his team had seriously considered deposing Meghan Markle as a witness in the civil case against Andrew.
Because there have been so many questions about her past for some time, so many suggestions. Was she operating as a yacht girl? How was she making her money? How was she traveling around the world? Maybe we're going to get some of those answers.
This wasn't gossip. Boies' reasoning was clear. Meghan lived in the US, making jurisdiction simple. She had spent time around Andrew as a family member, and she might have observed his behavior or heard conversations about it firsthand. And Boies believed she could be counted on to tell the truth. He described Meghan as a close associate of Andrew, someone in a position to perhaps have seen what he did. Boies even considered deposing Fergie and Prince Charles, but Meghan's potential role stood out because of her proximity through Harry. At the time, she was not yet a royal, just someone stepping into Andrew's orbit. The case settled before any depositions could happen, but here's why it matters today. Using the phrase close associate about Meghan in a legal context is huge. Yet nobody asked what that association really looked like before she married into royalty. Nobody asked how close she actually was or when it began. The legal team wanted to know what Meghan might have known, and that question was never answered. It vanished.
Everything happened because of Fergie. Meghan Markle was introduced by Sarah Ferguson to Prince Harry.
The silence around it speaks volumes, because when a lawyer handling one of the most high-profile cases of modern history publicly names you as a potential witness, you expect headlines, follow-ups, investigations. But the media didn't pursue it, her team didn't respond, and the entire thread just dissolved. That's not normal. In any other case, that would dominate the front page for a week. For Meghan, it lasted maybe a day before the world moved on. Why? That's the mystery. The investigation into Meghan's pre-royal connections didn't start with Andrew's arrest. No, it began roughly 8 years ago, around the time Meghan first entered public life as Harry's partner. Multiple independent researchers and investigators quietly started building a timeline, cross-referencing travel dates, events she attended, and the people she met.
Sarah Ferguson attended Tom Skip's wedding in Jamaica in 2017. Meghan Markle was flown in private plane, allegedly belonging to Rob Burkle. Harry flew economy plus from the United Kingdom to Jamaica. And Fergie, Eugenie, and allegedly Andrew were at that wedding.
Piece by piece, they mapped a world that intersected with Andrew, his network, and some of the richest, most secretive circles on the planet. This isn't speculation anymore. The threads are there. They've been slowly woven together over years, waiting for the right moment to explode. And with Andrew now in police custody, the timing couldn't be more perfect for those threads to unravel, potentially exposing secrets that could change everything we thought we knew about Meghan's rise to royalty. A social media posts from accounts that have since been scrubbed and photographs that circulate in private investigative forums but never make it into print have been quietly painting a picture no one in the mainstream wants to touch. One researcher involved in this work called it the most comprehensive private investigation into a public figure's past she'd ever seen in her career. We're talking photos allegedly snapped at Soho House events, guest lists from Mediterranean yacht gatherings, and a network of connections stretching across Hollywood and beyond, all carefully mapped out. The trail connects Hollywood networking to something far more troubling.
Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht partying person, ready for anything.
In these circles, a phrase comes up again and again: yacht girl. It's not just about showing up to parties on yachts. It's a role, a position in elite social structures that involves introductions, access, and sometimes compensation. It's a world where who you know can be more valuable than what you do, and where appearances can hide a lot more than they reveal. Now, are these claims proven? Not entirely. But here's the kicker: they're not the ramblings of anonymous accounts anymore. When people with legal counsel, professional reputations, and credible sources start speaking openly about a story they've spent years piecing together, it usually signals that the moment has come when the evidence can't be ignored, and Andrew's arrest might be exactly that moment. Here's why. Before February 19th, Meghan's past was mostly rumor. But after Andrew's arrest, it's potentially moving into the realm of evidence.
Evidently, this is an investigation that has spanned many, many years. She's very detailed and forensic. So I think Meghan Markle will be panicking because at the end of the day, Dan, things don't make sense with Meghan Markle. That's a fact.
Whatever was stored on his devices, contacts, messages, photos, logs, all of it is now in the hands of Thames Valley Police. And these materials don't come with a filter. Everything Andrew touched, every conversation he had, every name saved on a device is now part of the official record. That changes the game completely. There's a pattern involving Sarah Ferguson and Meghan Markle that almost nobody has traced properly, but it speaks louder than any quote ever could. Back in 2019, Fergie went on the record praising Meghan. She told Vogue Arabia that she could relate to her, called her modern and fabulous, and said she had been in Meghan's shoes herself. That's a public alignment, a gesture signaling mentorship and connection. But fast forward to 2023, and something had clearly shifted. When The Telegraph asked Fergie directly about Meghan, her answer was strange, almost dismissive. She said, and this is a direct quote, "I don't really know Meghan. I haven't really met her."
Her man serves her no purpose. Does that sound familiar? Fergie saying, oh, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. Why? Because now she no longer has the use of the title.
That's remarkable for a woman who personally taught Meghan how to curtsy before she ever met the Queen. Harry himself confirmed that moment. Fergie had come outside at Royal Lodge, demonstrated the curtsy, and Meghan copied it. They were in each other's company. They spoke. and they shared a meaningful moment before one of the most important meetings of Meghan's life. And then, 4 years later, Fergie acted as if it barely happened. That's a dramatic shift, from I relate to her to I don't really know her. It's a change that doesn't happen in isolation. It's a signal, a clue, part of a larger puzzle that whispers of alliances, tensions, and secrets hidden behind palace walls and private parties. And with Andrew's evidence about to hit the spotlight, those whispers might finally become loud enough for the world to hear.
Sarah Ferguson is as cunning and as deviant and as skanky as Rachel Meghan Markle. She just was lucky that when she was doing all her skankiness, the internet was not around.
The story doesn't stop with social events and whispers behind velvet ropes. It goes deeper, into a world where influence, access, and secrets intertwine. There's a rhythm to it, a network of people who move like shadows through high society, where every handshake, every toast, every smile carries weight. And at the center of it all, Meghan Markle's pre-royal life starts to look less like Hollywood auditions and more like a calculated entry into that hidden world. Independent researchers have traced her travels, her appearances, and the names she crossed paths with. Each connection seems to link her to powerful players whose names don't appear in tabloids or public reports. They move in yachts anchored off the Mediterranean coast, private clubs tucked away from paparazzi lenses, and charity galas where billionaires talk in whispers rather than speeches.
20 years ago, that woman would not be able to marry a working member of the British royal family. Even though she's an actress, even though she's playing a role, that is just beneath the British royal family.
And according to investigators, Meghan wasn't just a spectator. She was being introduced, groomed, positioned. Every introduction carefully orchestrated, every interaction carrying unspoken meaning. One source familiar with these gatherings described the environment as a marketplace of influence. Access was currency. A kind word or a smile from the right person could open doors to people who control media, finance, and international opportunity. In that context, Meghan's rise wasn't just luck. It was a networked ascent, a path carefully navigated through spaces that are invisible to the public eye. And the people who noticed her weren't just casual acquaintances. They were players who understood the value of connections, and they made sure she was seen, remembered, and positioned. Now, what makes all this explosive is what happens when those networks overlap with someone like Prince Andrew.
But this is a woman who drops truth bombs and who always keeps the receipts. And for some time, she has been promising major revelations to come on Meghan Markle, on Meghan Markle's past, in a series of Instagram stories which precede what the investigation will reveal is quite something.
He's a royal, a man whose private life has long been shrouded in secrecy, but his devices, phones, computers, documents, contain a digital footprint that intersects with those same circles. Every dinner, every party, every private encounter that involved influential people now becomes a potential point of investigation. And the consequences? They could expose names, dates, and events that people have spent years trying to keep hidden. Consider this. In private investigator forums, researchers share snippets of conversations, images, and guest lists that never appear in mainstream reporting. Patterns emerge that connect Hollywood, high finance, and international elites with people tied to Andrew's social orbit. Every piece of information is like a thread in a tapestry.
Something that Virginia Giuffre's lawyer, David Boies, had previously gone public to the Daily Beast about. So wow, I have been in contact with Jessica Reed-Krause for some time. I have been waiting for her to drop this investigation so desperately.
And when investigators start pulling on it, the whole design could unravel in ways that nobody expects. And while Andrew faces charges that the public sees, misconduct, misuse of office, confidential documents, the real story may lie in the connections, the overlaps, and the evidence stored quietly for decades. The world might think it's only about him, but the digital and social trails on his devices could reveal a far bigger picture, a story about networks, influence, and secrets that bridge continents and social hierarchies. This is the moment where rumors and private investigations could collide with hard evidence. And with Andrew's arrest, the timing is uncanny. The files, messages, and guest lists may not just confirm speculation. They could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the connections surrounding Meghan Markle, Prince Andrew, and a hidden world most people only glimpse in whispers.
Many things in Meghan's past, I think, are patchy at best, and she is going to be worried about this.
This is the part of the story that rarely gets enough attention. People don't distance themselves from someone for no reason, especially not someone as publicly visible as Meghan Markle. Between 2019 and 2023, something clearly shifted. Sarah Ferguson, once openly praising Meghan, decided that being associated with her was no longer worth the risk. And that decision? It tells a story in itself. Now consider where Fergie is today. She's reportedly been offered six-figure deals for a tell-all interview. Palace insiders are reportedly terrified. One source told The Sun there's a real danger of her revealing details that could embarrass the king and other senior royals. Her representatives are scrambling, desperate to prevent what they call another meatless scenario, and someone close to Fergie said bluntly, "Andrew has had his chances to tell his story. Now it's her turn." So here's the question everyone's waiting for. When Fergie finally sits down for that explosive interview and is asked about Meghan, will she stick to, "I don't really know her," or will she reveal the real reason she stopped saying she did?
Many people in this world are lost. It's excruciating to live with past mistakes. It is so difficult. I always would like to change so many things in my past, but I can't. I've got to move forward, and it's very difficult to go back over them.
That question alone should be enough to keep Meghan Markle awake at night. Andrew's arrest wasn't just about a handful of documents forwarded to one convicted financier. The search warrants hit 2 of his properties, and the material seized reportedly includes phones, hard drives, computers, documents, and personal correspondence, spanning decades. Andrew wasn't just a prince, he was the center of a sprawling social network stretching from Buckingham Palace to private Caribbean islands. Guest lists, communications, travel records, the people he interacted with, all of it is now evidence. And Andrew himself? He's a man stripped of title, stripped of protection, with charges that could carry life imprisonment hanging over him.
Meghan, this is historic. There has not been a crisis like this in 90 years.
His own daughter reportedly cut off all contact. His brother won't even call him by his first name in public statements. Loyalty? There is none left to protect him. And when a man like that sits across from a detective, a man royal biographers have described as someone who always believed the rules didn't apply to him, someone who never once showed remorse, the real question isn't if he'll protect other people's secrets. The real question is how fast he'll trade them for a lighter outcome.
Prince Harry really seems fired up about is this incident where he allegedly punches Prince Andrew at a family gathering because he overhears something Prince Andrew said behind his back. This is unrelated to Meghan Markle, and I think that I've seen that get mixed up a couple of times.
Yes, it has. That's one of the problems. Confuse the two things.
People close to the investigation warn that what's been made public so far is just the surface. One biographer who fought for years just to access Andrew's envoy records has said bluntly, Andrew has never truly been held accountable for anything in his life. And now, this arrest might just be the opening chapter in a cascade of revelations, the first wave of secrets ready to explode, exposing not just him, but everyone orbiting his world, friends, associates, and maybe even those connected to Meghan Markle herself.
Whoa, okay. The House and Habit bombshell investigation into Meghan Markle is close to dropping.
With Andrew sitting in custody and decades of private communications under police review, the stage is set for revelations that could shake the royal world, Hollywood circles, and the elite networks that most people will never see. Every name, every conversation, every connection could now be dragged into the light. And once that happens, there's no going back. A former member of the royal household. Put more bluntly, Andrew has gone rogue, and the worst is still ahead.
You know, I certainly think, this guy, Andrew, what he's done to this family is absolutely appalling, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Meghan spent years telling the world she wasn't protected by the royal institution. She gave interview after interview about double standards, about how Andrew was shielded while she was attacked. And she was right about that. But here's the part nobody talks about. She never said the reason she wanted the focus on unfairness was so nobody would ask the obvious follow-up question, why did Andrew need protection from the same story? He needed protection from different chapters of the same book, and that book has just been seized by Thames Valley Police.
We really never thought we'd see anything like this. There are currently 2 teams of police on the King's estate, searching the King's property.
Andrew's phones are in an evidence room, his files are being examined, and 8 years of questions about Meghan's pre-royal past are no longer just rumors floating around online. They're potentially sitting inside those files waiting to be read by people with badges. Fergie tried to warn us. Virginia Giuffre tried to make the world listen. And now, for the first time, the answers aren't in gossip forums or social media sleuths' hands. They're in the hands of investigators with warrants. Whatever Andrew knows, he no longer gets to decide who finds out. And that makes the coming weeks and months a countdown to revelations that could change everything we thought we knew. What do you think is going to come out next? Tell me in the comments. Keep the discussion going, like this video if you found it eye-opening, and most importantly, subscribe to Crown Clash because I share a new video every single day.